This is the Talkin Bout The Hoosiers podcast, presented by thehoosier.com. Before we jump into this video, pause it right now and go subscribe to the Hoosier.com website, now a part of On3 Sports, for exclusive content covering the Indiana Hoosiers, including exclusive interviews, live recruiting updates, and much more. Make sure to join our community. We really appreciate it.
And Hoosier Nation, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on our YouTube page. We got plenty more content on here, including more talking about the Hoosiers podcast episodes, recruiting highlights, press conferences, and much, much more. It literally takes 2 seconds. Just do it right now, get it over with, and then go on and let's enjoy this new episode.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Talking About the Hoosiers podcast, presented by the Hoosier. I'm joined by Kyler Staley, and once again, we're back for another breaking news episode as the Indiana Hoosiers have landed North Florida forward Josh Harris, adding to the front court freshman player. Kyler, what are your initial takeaways?
Yeah, first of all, it's good to be back on these breaking news pods. I feel like I haven't been here in a while and stuff, but it's always good when we can talk about a commitment for Indiana. But Josh Harris, North Florida transfer power forward, had a really, really strong year, averaged a little over 13 points a game, a little over 7 rebounds a game, just really, really solid for that North Florida team last year. Comes to Indiana, joins his former teammate at North Florida, Josiah Miles. So, obviously there's a connection there as well. But as far as what I think Josh Harris, when it comes to Indiana, I think the sky's the limit for him. And I've looked at his scouting report. I put together his scouting report, looked at a lot of film with him. Super athletic forward. Does a lot of really good things. Has a lot of effort when it comes to attacking the glass and rebounding on both ends of the court. Not a guy that's going to be a rim protector. I think that's still an area that Indiana's still going to have to go out and try to get. But as far as just his movement, his footwork as a player, his motor, and what he can bring, I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of role he has. I think he will have a role for Indiana, probably more off the bench. He's going to get a lot of playing time and stuff, but his development, I think, over the next couple of years, especially this year, is going to be huge for Indiana. Not really a stretch four right now, but does have the potential to become a stretch four. So I would say probably the most athletic player on the team right now, but I think it's always like a really, really good pickup for Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned an athletic player. He's a lob threat, especially off the pick and roll. In Indiana's, added Josiah Miles is a little bit of it, but Josh Harris is more of a true lob threat off the pick and roll. And, you look at the ball handlers Indiana's have. We talked about it like a week or two ago. It was like Indiana is loading up on ball handlers. There's no shortage. And now you have a guy like Josh Harris who is, isn't always going to create for himself off the dribble. He can, but it's someone who's going to, finish a lot of those like passes that you're going to see from Tate and Connor Enright, guys like that.
Yeah, no, he's really good. The way he scores is going to be in post-up actions.
Yeah.
He's pretty solid in the pick and roll game. Watching film on him, he really likes to really cut hard when it comes to setting screens and stuff. And I think you mentioned the lob threat type of play that you'll see. I think he's going to be one of the better lob threats on this Indiana team. And guys like Tate and Conway, Josiah Miles, Lamar Wilkerson, the guards, Tucker DeVries, even Connor Enright. I think those guys are going to really benefit from having Josh Harris on the floor with them, and it's going to be the exact same way on the opposite end. I think he's going to be playing with guys that make him a lot better. He takes a lot of pressure off of him to be the dominant guy for this team, like he was at North Florida. Him and Josiah Miles, those two combos, those guys had a lot of weight on their shoulders here. Now they go to Indiana, they got a lot of playmakers around them to just make them better players. And I think, it may not be this year, but I think as long as he stays at Indiana and stuff, I think he's going to be a really, really solid piece for the future of this Indiana program.
Yeah, I mean, it's someone you can build around. We've talked about it early on. It was, a lot of seniors added, a lot of guys who weren't going to have eligibility past next season. And now you're starting to see a little bit of guys that, are going to come back. I think Josiah Miles will have 2 years. Nick Dorn has multiple years of eligibility, and now Josh Harris is someone who has a couple of years of eligibility to build off of. 3 years. So it's adding guys who you're going to be here for, not just 1 year. And it was something I think a lot of Indiana fans were worried about. They're like, Hoosiers are building up for this one season, and then next year it's going to have to do it all over again. But they're adding pieces now where it's like you can build off this. And Josh Harris's roles, we really don't know yet because Indiana still has that, it looks like a need as a rim protector. And I know you said you didn't think he will start. I think there is a real world, though, where he could start if Indiana doesn't go out and add a true rim protector, a true 5, alongside Reed Bailey if Indiana wants to play a faster style.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is a world that they not go out and get a true rim protector. There is a world where he might start alongside Reed Bailey. If that's the case, that's going to be a pretty versatile front court, I think. But he will always, obviously, with Josh Harris, his game's not really that stretch game right now, even though he's shown an ability to do that. I think he only made 11 out of 33 threes last year or whatever and stuff. So not bad for his kind of skill position, but obviously there's a lot of room for improvement there. If that's the case, I would expect him to play more of a small ball 5. If that's the situation where Reed Bailey is probably going to be a guy that's going to stretch it out a little bit more. But it is nice to say, touching on the eligibility part of it, is nice to see Indiana getting guys with multiple years of eligibility, guys that they kind of can build around for future seasons with this program and stuff. So I think, roster wise, you look at Indiana, I think this team's really, really balanced right now. Like I said, you're missing that one rim protector. You get that, and there's still a lot of options out there that they can get. I think you have a really, really solid team. I think if you look at the team right now, I think there's only 2 open scholarships remaining. Yeah. And then one of those is you're kind of hoping it's going to be Luke Goody, right? So,
yeah.
And that's obviously not including him and stuff. So you hope one of them is, if they can get Luke Goody back, if they can get that rim protector, I think this Indiana team is really, really good. It may take them a little bit to gel on the floor when they get in the game settings, but I think this team is really, really balanced. A lot of shooting, a lot of good front court pieces, and just a lot of playmaking overall.
Yeah, I will say the longer, this kind of drags out, the more I'm skeptical about Luke Goody getting that waiver to play. It seems really weird right now with the antitrust laws in the NCAA. I mean, we're seeing the stuff in football right now with the roster cuts. It's going to be really interesting to follow because, there's a lot of players who have entered the portal who don't have eligibility, and seeing, if they're able to, fight their way into playing, it's going to completely change college sports. And Luke Goody is, part of those, hundreds of players that are really waiting to see, are they going to get that next year? And the more it waits, the more I'm, skeptical that we're going to see Luke Goody playing next year.
It'll be interesting for sure. You just got to see how it plays out and stuff. I think sooner than later we'll kind of know what the decision is going to be and stuff. If Indiana goes out and get a rim protector and they're still out there trying to recruit other guys and stuff, which that's probably what they'll probably do and stuff, maybe over recruit a little bit, but it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and stuff. I like the roster right now, regardless of what they get. They just got to get that rim protector. But Josh Harris, really, really good pickup, really exciting pickup. I'm curious to see how he develops as a player and stuff, and I expect him to play some big minutes this year.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a young guy, and I think is it the youngest edition of the portal? I want to say
it would have to be, yeah. Then obviously Trent Sisley is the youngest player on this team and stuff, but like I said, the upside, the potential with Josh Harris is it's through the roof. And if I urge people to go to thehoosier.com, look at the scouting report, look at the film that we have on him and stuff. I think it's a really, really exciting piece, and I like the potential, the upside for him to be more of a stretch forward, as his game kind of develops and stuff. So really, really good pickup, really good, solid pickup. I think he canceled a Miami visit, if I can remember correctly. So Darren DeVries is doing a really good job of getting guys on campus and making sure they don't leave campus. So we'll see what next guy that they get.
Yeah, we're going to have you covered for all things Indiana recruiting. We have the big board, which if you haven't been following is updated on every visit, every, scholarship offer, everything, Darren DeVries in this program is doing when it comes to recruiting on the transfer portal. We have you on that big board. It's updated to date with Josh Harris committing today. All of that stuff is there. The Hoosiers, we got you covered for football recruiting too. Big week for Indiana football. Landed a commitment from 3-star defensive back Lawrence Timmons. Got that story up, and a bunch of stuff between other recruitment battles that Kurt Signetti and Indiana are a part of. So guys, make sure you're following the Hoosier on 3 on X. Check out the Hoosier.com website, and make sure to subscribe to the Hoosier on YouTube. And guys, we set up our Spotify now. Finally set up the Spotify. So make sure you go follow, like us on there. We appreciate it so much. Like this video. Thank you for tuning in to the Talkin Bout The Hoosiers podcast. We'll be back next week.